Hi, in this session we will talk about a little bit on business objects as a company and what is this particular tool is all about. So Business Objects is a company which focuses on developing business intelligence tools which are used in data warehousing environment. So now you know what a data warehousing architecture is. So in a data warehousing architecture there are four different layers we usually talk about. One is source system layer, the other one is ETL layer, and the third one is data warehousing database layer, and the fourth one is the OLAP layer, or we can also call it as business intelligence layer. Why do we call business intelligence layer in data warehousing? Because that is where business comes up and sees what is the data available through which they can make strategic decisions so that they can run the company in a better way. So that's why it's called as business intelligence. So Business Objects is a company which focuses predominantly on the business intelligence area side of a data warehousing environment. The next one is we'll talk about what is it? What exactly the Business Objects is? It's an OLAP tool. So what does OLAP stands for? It stands for Online Analytical Processing. So you also would have heard about OLTP system. What is OLTP stands for? Online Transaction Processing. So online transaction processing are typically used to run the transactions faster in an organization in a day-to-day business, whereas online analytical processing is typically done by the intellectual people, where they try to understand the business process behind the data what they are seeing, so that they can also visualize how they can improve the business process to increase the performance, or to decrease the turnaround time for your customer order management, or the cycle time of a particular product evolution. So there are many reasons why we do the analysis to run a company better. We go for the analysis tools. So now what is the definition? We'll go to the one step down. So what is OLAP? So OLAP is a tool, right? So now when it comes to the tool, it basically reports the data what we have in our data warehouse. So now what is the difference between a reporting tool which we use in data warehouse versus a reporting tool which we use in operational systems? So in an operational system, you will end up getting only reports which are already predefined. So if you take an example of a telecom company, there may be 200 reports which they need to run their day-to-day business, and only those 200 reports are being designed, because the requirements are pretty static when it comes to the OLTP area. But when it comes to the data warehouses, the management community asks so many different questions every day. So the requirement what management has is not very static by nature. It is more of an ad hoc. So if a reporting tool which supports this management questions to answer the management questions in an easier way, then we can stamp that tool as an OLAP tool. So now Business Objects is an OLAP tool. So here I am talking about any tool through which we can create ad hoc reports, or we can do a drill down, or drill up, or drill through. So whenever I am able to do these functionalities in a particular environment, then we can consider that particular environment as an OLAP reporting tool. Now who owns Business Objects? Because of the mergers and acquisitions, SAP bought over Business Objects company. Now it is called as SAP Business Objects. In the future, compared to all the other OLAP tools, our gut feeling right now is you will have more Business Objects requirements than any other OLAP tools, because all the existing SAP customers may end up going for SAP BW, which is a product from SAP, and that SAP BW data warehouse will be predominantly using Business Objects to deliver the BI reports. So we are seeing a lot more traction in Business Objects requirements, especially in the future, to grow for sure. Then finally, we just wanted to talk about, what are all the types of jobs typically we will have if a company installs the business objects as a tool for their BI reporting side. So one of the people, one of the reasons, once we have any kind of a product within a company, we need to have administration team to manage the infrastructure of that particular product. Then we have, here the administrator is basically takes care of the security issues, configuration issues, migration issues in an environment. Then we have next set of people called designers, where they develop, they understand the business, in a right way, and they will also understand the data models of your data warehouses or data mart, through which the businesses wants to query the data for their day-to-day decision process. So the designers are the build a bridge between the technology team and the business team, so that they convert the technology area into the business easy way, business perspective. So when I understand what business wants and compare that requirement against the databases what we have, then we hide the complexity of the databases and create a metadata layer to develop reports on an ad hoc basis. That is what designer's job is all about. Then we have developers. So who are these developers? 60% of the data, 60% of the management reports are typically static by nature, and remaining 40% is based on the ad hoc basis. So whenever we are rolling out a data warehousing project, the management expects some reports to be developed before we roll out the system. So for example, we want to do the comparative analysis of the sales between last year and this year, or last quarter to this quarter. So these reports are predefined, and who develops this kind of reports? So the developers of business objects, report developers, will develop these reports and put that in the repository, so that the management community can take a look at it before they take any kind of a decisions, or to know what is going on in the company. Then we have the BI testers, or business objects testers. So whatever the developer developed these reports, right? So somebody has to just make sure the data what we have in the reports matches with the requirement what business came out with in the first place. So testers community is also there. So when I look at it, when you learn business objects, based on your experience and the expertise what you currently have, you chose the path how you want to go. So if you are an administrator, you should be good in the infrastructure area. You should be understanding the network configurations, you should be understanding database configurations, and if you are interested in that line, then you can become the business objects administrator. Then you have designer. So how many designers you will have? Most probably, if you take a data warehouse which has 10 different subject areas, then you may have 2 to 3 designers in your company, because once we design the data model, once we design our universe, then there is only enhancements which we add to that, but we don't restart from the scratch. Then you may have huge number of developers based on the company size. If your management is requesting to develop around 400 reports over the period of 2 years, then you may have around 40 developers who can develop these reports. Then the testing community will be having very less amount of people, less number of people in the testing community for business objects. So I hope you understand what a business objects, a little bit of what business objects can do for the companies where they install this particular product. Thanks.